Number is staggering. Since 1999, the number of people who have died from prescription drug overdose has quadrupled. And more disturbingly, the most fatally abused drug today is actually legal and maybe even sitting in your very own medicine cabinet.
Yeah, prescription painkillers account for more fatal overdoses than heroin and cocaine combined. Deborah Hersman, President and CEO of the National Safety Council, joining us live this morning. Deborah, these are staggering numbers. Just exactly how big of a problem is prescription painkillers?
You know, we really are looking at this as an epidemic. For the first time since World War II, we're seeing poisonings overtake motor vehicle crashes as the #1 cause of death when it comes to unintentional injury deaths in the United States. So we really have to be paying attention to what's going on. The leading cause in these poisonings is prescription painkiller overdoses. People are not intending to overdose, and so we need to make sure that we understand the drugs that we're taking.
And we've often heard that painkillers lead to other crimes so often, and that people really do get addicted and then maybe even lead to something as horrible as heroin. Explain how this is now considered almost a gateway drug.
You know, it's interesting when people talk about heroin, as you just did, it seems like a very scary drug, and most people are not really making the connection that opioid painkillers and heroin are the base same as far as the chemical composition. They come from poppies, they're opioids, and so it's very easy for people to make the transition, particularly when they get cut off from their supply of prescription painkillers. Either their doctor stops prescribing. 70% of people get them from their friends or family, so they may not get those anymore. The street value of heroin is actually lower than the street value of these prescription painkillers, so it's cheaper to move to heroin.
And Deborah, talk about some of the side effects of these prescription painkillers. What are people feeling? What are they doing after taking them? And what is the National Safety Council doing to raise awareness for the problem?
You know, when we talk about prescription painkillers, they are very impairing medications. They're one of those medications that tells you not to operate heavy machinery. That includes driving a car. So we want to be concerned about people who are taking these drugs and are in the workplace or doing something that might have safety implications. But when we talk about the overdose deaths and how high that number is, unfortunately, it's people who are either taking too much of the drug or in combination with other drugs, and they don't understand how it's working. It suppresses your breathing, and people just stop breathing. They suffocate.
Deborah, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. We really appreciate this information because we do know a lot of families right here in the Inland Northwest are dealing with addiction. And I guess my final quickly is, where can families go if maybe they are noticing an addiction issue?
So you can visit nsc.org and get more information, whether you're an employer or a community trying to make a difference. And there's also a lot of state and local resources made available to you. And so we'll make sure people have access to those. Have a safe summer, Seattle.
All right.
All right.
And right here in Spokane as well.
Indeed.
Deborah, thank you so much for your time. It's certainly some staggering numbers there and pretty scary, quite frankly.
I would agree. And we've seen this over the years that painkillers or any kind of prescription drug abuse can often lead to other crimes. I've talked to a number of officers over the years because then it turns into a, I'm going to steal my neighbor's whatever to then pay for this addiction. And it is this big cyclical issue that if you notice those first signs, to get help for a family member.
And it's hit really a lot of different areas of the public. I mean, I can remember Brett Favre, when he had an injury playing football, got addicted to painkillers.
Right.
I mean, it can be anybody I guess, is what I'm getting at. And so that's what's one of the scary things. And then to hear that it's killing more people than heroin and cocaine combined. So if you know somebody, please,
But it's those
seek
little,
help.
it is those little injuries that you're prescribed medication.